An Emmy-winning former investigative reporter, a highly successful trial attorney, and publisher of a major Denver area newspaper, they've been partners as talk show hosts and in marriage as parents for over 10 years, providing thought-provoking information, opinion, and entertainment live, local, and interactive. Everyone's voice is always welcome on the Chuck and Julie Show.
Well, am I there somewhere? Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're live, my friend.
I'm live?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everybody. Chuck Bonniwell here. Julie is rushing back from her appointments and coming back. So luckily, we're here on our own without it, just the guys. We got Jacob, I see. So that's wonderful. I thought we'd start out today talking about the Texas race, Tallarico versus the Republican. And it's going to be quite some deal. The Attorney General of Texas is running. Tallarico has been ahead in the polls, but the most recent poll shows the Attorney General ahead. So we thought we'd be able to see a couple of the ads that have been going. For those who are old enough, they may remember the 1964 ad called the Daisy ad, in which Lyndon Johnson ran against Barry Goldwater, and it was considered absolutely the most devastating ad ever. And we've got a variation of that. But could we play the old ad from 1964?
The stakes to make a world in which all of God's children can live or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
Now that ad is famous. It's in political circles as being the most devastating ad ever run against somebody else, although it never mentions Barry Goldwater's name. But he was viewed as being a trigger-happy person who would not be afraid to set off the atomic bomb. In fact, he gave indications that he was not going to be hesitant if it needed to do bombs. And so that was considered. Now, Goldwater was already behind by a large margin, but that kind of sealed his fate, and it's famous in political ad circles. Now we want to play the one that the Republicans have run against, Tallarico. If we could shoot that one off.
1, 2, 3.
She dreams of growing up, falling in love, becoming a mother.
4, 5, 6.
Keep counting.
7.
The trans industry preys on confused children. Irreversible puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, sex change surgeries. This November, stop them before it's too late.
All right. So what did you think of that ad, Jacob? Are you there, Jacob? Oh, it looks like it's a little crossed out. Jacob, come on whenever you get your...
Yeah, here we are. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty devastating. I mean, a little unfair, and all good political ads are a little unfair that are great. A lot of truth and as well as exaggeration.
Yes.
Certainly, Tallarico is very much for puberty blockers, very much for surgery on kids and so forth. Now he's not a surgeon, but I think it helps bring home the message that Tallarico is not this nice Christian seminary person, but really a hard left kind of guy. And it's going to be Paxton has a lot of baggage himself. I mean, he was impeached kind of unfairly down in Texas. He certainly cheated on his wife, but that's not exactly unique in Republican or Democratic circles, either for men or for women. So he's been a great advocate for the grassroots side. He's brought all kinds of lawsuits against Obama and the Obama administration. And if he gets in the Senate, he will be an absolute dynamite kind of guy, because he'll be joining Lee and saying, no, we're not going to leave until we vote on the SAVE Act and everything else. So he'll be a real firecracker. How do you see that race, Jacob?
I think Paxton's got it in the bag.
Oh, do you?
I think it's just a bunch of fake polls. But I was thinking today that all these communists that are running in all the different states, I think one of their priorities will be to bring back the draft. That's what I think that.
They want whatever they can for political control. Whatever
Yes.
biggest, one. I saw somebody who was saying, "Oh, we'll force everybody to do public service," which will be some kind of horrendous, awful deal. Kind of, yeah, you'll join the Peace Corps, or you'll join whatever the local one was called. If you have the government calling up between 18 and 20, and the Democrats got a hold of that, they'd have them march out and collect ballots for them or whatever else.
Yeah.
The less you can have the government do, and you learn. I mean, I think one of the real silver linings to the god-awful COVID-19 one, it was that they will do anything to get and invent any emergency to get power.
Yeah.
And they have Fauci, and now because of his diaries, because of his text messages, we now found out he knew. I had warnings about how it hurt women in the first trimester of pregnancy. Certainly learned that booster shots, if you got more than one, you had a good chance for myocarditis or blood clots. And then Fauci himself got a blood clot. Didn't tell anybody about it. He certainly knew that his prescriptions, whether it's a mask, 6-foot rule, he knew what he was doing to children and families, and they didn't care. I mean, they didn't care. So do you really want to turn over your country to these people? And they're the moderates. Fauci was not a radical. And it's pretty amazing. And I think Donald Trump wears on people. But boy, who do they have? AOC? I mean, is that it? California governor? I mean, they've got nobody that's I can't think of a single person on the Democratic side, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. I mean, who is there that's likable? Harris? I mean, they have no one. They have no one. And that's in part why I think the Democratic Socialists have taken over. They certainly have taken over here in Denver. It's amazing. We got Diane DeGette loses Timillo by 10 points, and she didn't have any kind of scandal. She didn't have any kind of not showing up for a couple of years or having an affair with her bodyguard or anything. Nothing. And she won that easily. I've got a good friend who's a Democrat who lives up in Hilltop. He's a Jewish guy. And, the new DSA candidate hates Israel, but he can't bring himself to vote for the pro-Israel Republican. Just can't do it. It's just too awful. So they put up a doctor who's a independent, not associated with anybody else. What is that going to do? The Republicans will get the usual 15 to 20%, which is pathetic. then this guy will get, I don't know if he's really successful, 15 to 20%, and she'll get 60 or 65 or 70. Just voting for Republicans, too much of anathema to some Democrats. And because of that, these guys in Denver don't have a party anymore. They really don't. I mean, the Democratic Socialists do not want to hear anything from pro-Israeli Jews. They just don't. And it's to me, Jacob, where do you live?
Well, I live on the west side, and I don't know. I see a lot of signs for Marat, whatever her name is. Yeah.
Yeah.
See these trust fund kids and the kids. I mean, I see them walking their dogs or their kids all day. They don't have to go to work. So, I think that, and that's why I think they're voting for her, because it won't hurt them if they have to pay a little bit more in taxes, and share
Denver is chock full of government employees. They're all the state employees, they're all the federal employees, they're all the city and county employees, and the nonprofits. And if you add all those up, none of those are affected by the fact that the city is about, and at least in my estimation, about to go through a real correction, a real problem. People have been moving in here from California and from Chicago and other places, Iowa, for quite a while, because Denver was an attractive purple state. It was neither Republican or Democrat, and many of those people, that was great. They didn't really, if they really wanted to be in a blue state, they'd move out to California or Washington or Oregon or something. But now, they got rid of Palantir to the westwards, joyous, yay, we lost the largest market cap company in all of Colorado, and they're moving out and they're going elsewhere. You go, oh, yay. And who's going to pay all the bills for Westward? All the people who are no longer going to have jobs, and they're going to be moving out with it, as if the staff at Westward thinks it's free from economic forces. I can promise you, it's not. Those government employees may well be, but those people are not. And they'll soon find, once they're out in the real world again and trying to find a job in journalism, good luck. I mean, I own a newspaper. Good luck. It's going to be incredibly hard for those people to get elected, get a job, and they can move. I don't know where they're going to move. Texas, and it's just amazing. But we've got an election coming up in which none of the candidates matter, with the exception of the 8th congressional district, in which the Republican Gabe Evans is very vulnerable. It can lose to the very radical Democrat. But other than that, if you're not, and we are in the 8th congressional district, so maybe we have somewhere. Not a single other race is contested. There's not, Greg Marks couldn't be a worse candidate. Mike Baisley is fine, but he has no chance. The Secretary of State, the Republicans have a great candidate, but he's got no chance. All the state house and state things, they're all kind of usually in districts that are so much one or the other way, and they have such a control over both houses that maybe they can make it judgment proof. But who cares? Once you have Phil Weiser, he's not gonna stop anything from going through. And I think, what do you think, Jacob, about the future economy of Denver?
Oh, it's shot. Denver is shot. Yeah. That Palantir, they reported the record earnings last week. They're not here. They're not here.
Yeah, well, there's a whole article, and I wrote an editorial on it, where it's saying, they're gone and we won't miss them. And you're kind of like, who's we? Who's one we?
Well, it's like that mayor in Seattle. She says, "Well, if they leave, goodbye, bye." And she's starting to regret it now. And I see Kathy Hochul starting to regret telling everybody to leave.
Right. Go to Florida. Here's a bus ticket. Get the hell out of New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll leave. will leave New York, will leave everywhere else. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. So for this upcoming election, do you think there's going to be much of a turnout, Jacob? I mean, I don't know. I think
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, there are a
I
lot
mean,
of interesting propositions.
you don't want a social, you don't want a communist representing you, but at the same time, nobody cares. So
No,
we'll see.
yeah, well, I mean, Weisel, he was just a lousy lawyer who became a politically correct dean of CU Law School. And as AG, he's brought lots of ineffective or joined in with other people
Yeah.
lawsuits against Trump. I mean, he was never a litigator, so he didn't do the work. He would depend upon other people, and he just signed his name onto it. But he has no abilities, and he certainly isn't going to be. At least Polis at times could kind of pretend he was really independent. And I think he really screwed himself when he did the pardon for Tina Peters. Maybe that was a step too far. Condemned by the Democratic Party, dying to keep an old 70-year-old grandma and Gold Star mother in jail. Just amazing where the Democratic Party is.
Well, Joycelyn Benson in Michigan, she's the Secretary of State. She's running for governor, and
Right.
they're her own party's trying to disqualify her now.
Are they really?
Yep. And I
And
think I don't know, something about not registering or something. I don't know what it was, but and I see Jenna Griswold has got another problem for not opening up the records on a contract. So we'll see. If they have to spend money on defending themselves, they're not going to have money on campaigning because there's very little money to go with. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
I don't think they need money for campaigns.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And the problem, there's a guy who wrote this wonderful article. We've got to address the fact that the right is stupid, and he published it, and it's really true. On average, the average Republican is dumber than the average Democrat. They're also a lot more decent and fair and honest, but they're dumber. They have lower IQs, and they did this whole thing about these short IQ tests they gave to all these conservatives and all these, and Republicans came out dumber. And it's and one of those where the Republicans are dumber is that ballot harvesting. If you asked, I imagine, some huge percentage of Republicans, is ballot harvesting legal? At least 40%, and probably a majority would say no, it's illegal. And if it's not illegal, it's certainly to be frowned upon. And Trump had that same view, which he gave to everybody in an election. And he said he wanted everybody to go to the polls on election day. And that was a strategy of the Republicans. And no dumber strategy has ever come up. Here in Adams County, just to make sure that all the people going to the polls on election day got screwed up, they'd send operatives who would vote and stay in the booth for an hour. So you were waiting all times to con to vote and so forth. And the reason why, I mean, I've run lots of elections, and I helped invent ballot harvesting. In fact, I did invent ballot harvesting in Colorado. It's not illegal. Now, that doesn't mean the Democrats won't cheat when they do it. I mean, anything that prevents them from getting a vote, whether the person's alive, dead, illegal, or whatever else, they'll claim to be voter suppression. But even if you do it absolutely legally,
Yeah.
you can, and your opponent does not, your opponent has no chance. He has no chance, because what you get to do is, let's say your voter pool is 1,000 people, or let's make it 100 people. You go out with 6 weeks. You have 6 weeks to do this now, or longer, and you get 50 people to vote ahead of time, and Democrats are urged to vote ahead of time. That means that you just have 50 more people to get to vote. All of a sudden, your job is half of what it was before. and then a week before you've got 75 in, and you only have 25, and you can put all your resources behind getting those 25% to 25 voters to vote. When you vote on election day, you have no chance. At 5 o'clock, you can look at your list and kind of go, well, we only got 50% in. Well, you're
Right.
not going to get any more in. It's too late. If you try to go to their home at 5:30, and you don't have the personnel to do it, you're going to end up getting 50 votes, and they're going to get 75 votes. And so you're going to lose 75 to 50.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simple math. I mean, why do I constantly get Republicans telling me, no, we can't do ballot harvesting? Why? It's legal. You can do it. And if you try to pick up votes from Republicans, no, I'm going to vote election day. And half of them do and half of them don't. Once ballot harvesting became legal in Colorado, and that was after 2016, Republicans have not taken one statewide seat, not one.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw Gardner was on with somebody saying, and they're asking, why has Colorado gone so purple? And I can tell them why. Because you don't, on the Republican Party, ballot harvest, you morons. And he said, well, all these people come from California. I kind of go, it's Republicans moving in from California. But, and I talk to Republicans all the time. And I can talk to them blue in the face saying, no. And they have all these election guys will tell them it's all the machines. They don't have to do the machines. They don't have to cheat on the machines. Before those ballots go in, it's already over. So it's an amazing thing. And I sometimes just throw up my hands and kind of go, never mind.
Well,
I can't talk to them.
I think let me tell you something. I think the big surprise is going to be in California. I think they're going to flip 5 seats red. And I think
based on what?
Based on the Democrat. Well, first of all, they can't cheat now because they got the eyes of the country are on them. Especially after this mayoral mess. They did get a Republican to run in the gubernatorial, even though they had 3 or 4 Democrats running. They on that. What do they call it? The type of campaign they run where there's 5 people and you pick 2 or something. I forget what it is.
Jungle primary.
Yeah, jungle primary. But they still had a jungle, and still Hilton. Hilton still made it up to the top. I think that's that's going to be the big surprise. I think they're going to flip 5 seats to the red, and I think in New York there's going to be a big turnaround, and to keep those 3 stooges out of the Congress.
Wow.
And Michigan's also got a problem. They got this guy El Said. Nobody likes him. Nobody. And that'll also be, they'll flip a Senate seat, and they'll flip. There's no guarantee that Tlaib's going to win because 3/4 of her district is either Jewish or not, or black, and the blacks don't like her at all.
Yeah. Well, in Colorado, I think you could have 2 or 3 seats flip Democratic. I think Gabe Evans is in real trouble. I think Lauren Boebert's in trouble, even though that's an overwhelmingly Republican district. I think Hurd could lose. I mean, it's and we've got a Republican Party that has no money. I mean, literally no money.
But let's go back to that thing you were talking about at the beginning about Johnson and Goldwater. That was in 1964.
Right.
And then in 1965, 2 things. They had the Great Society pass, which 7 years later created what they call not inflation, but stagflation, because so much money went into the economy that by the time Nixon came around, the economy was just stuck. But also, they reelected a guy named Lyndon Johnson, who then, got the war going, got the Vietnam War going,
They did.
and he ended up killing 50,000 of our troops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he did. About 59,000 people died
Yeah.
in the Vietnam conflict, and some died under Nixon, and some died.
Right.
You died
Well,
under
Kennedy he brought back all the military experts. He says, no, I don't want to get involved with Vietnam. And a couple of weeks later, he was assassinated.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, because Lady Bird Johnson's family was in the bomb making business.
They were.
They were the Lady Bird John. Yeah, she was. Her family was. They made bombs. That was their big family business. So it all makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, Johnson did kill them all, and Nixon got elected. There's a resurgence for admiration for Nixon that I do not share.
Yeah.
I thought he was an awful president. He gave us affirmative action. He gave us all these programs that were passed.
EPA. He gave us the EPA.
Yeah, he gave us the EPA. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I think that was connected to the fact that when he went to China to move some of our manufacturing over there, so he started the EPA, so it would be harder to start a manufacturing plant in the United States because it all these restrictions and all, but that's the way it worked out. No, I think, I don't take the polls now. I take the polls like Rush Limbaugh used to say, the issues that come up will come up after Labor Day. And, we'll see what happens. We'll really see what happens.
Well, I think I've got a bad view of it because what I sort of want to do is understand your opponents, right? You go, okay, that's why they think this way, and that's why they think this way. And, maybe if I was in different circumstances, I'd think that way. I can't do it for today. I mean, what is good about giving it's irrevocable cut off the genitalia of children?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what insanity is that? And we had 4 years of a foreign invasion of 10 million people. I guess that's the estimate these days.
Yeah.
And they want to keep as many as they possibly can. So they go to the courts to say, oh, no, we can't get rid of those wonderful Somalians because they do all the.
They are. No. Did you see last week where the judge said he threw out their protection, and now Trump can just throw them all out of the country?
Well, they can throw unless they have other potential claims, and I promise you, you've got thousands of all these immigration lawyers. Oh, okay, well, forget TPS. He has this claim or that claim. And they'll fight it to the death. And is it just because they think these are future Democratic voters? I mean, they're willing to destroy the entire country, and just for some votes. And you have the Republican, I guess, Chamber of Commerce people liking cheap labor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just so amazing to me. So you can like, oh yeah, let's have let's drive down wages. Where's the attract? There used to be the Democratic Party won. It was young. They had attractive candidates, and they'd say, "Oh, we're the people of compassion, and we're the people of." They have no good candidates.
No.
I don't see where this compassion comes from, and they're not really compassionate about anything. I don't see their attraction, and those are the mainstream ones. If you take the DSA, they want to get rid of the Constitution. They want to get rid of the presidency. They want to get rid of the Senate. They want to, who are gaining and gaining. They are, in their own way, Trotskyites, I guess. Some version of that.
But that's only half the party. The other half of the party doesn't want that to happen. You saw that guy from Louisiana, the lizard. What did they call him? He ran Clinton's campaign, and he says he's out. And then another guy, some guy named Levin, just jumped ship from the Democratic Party. Well,
James Carville, I think, is the one you're thinking about, Louisiana.
Yeah. And no, you have to. I let's just wait until Labor Day, and right after Labor Day, you'll see where things are going to. People don't want the DSA. They don't want it. They know it. But
Well, if they don't want it, they're sure happy to being elected El Said. I mean, he wasn't any kind of pretend candidate. I mean, you
yeah,
know where El Said comes from.
but he didn't win by 15% like he thought he was going to do
No,
either.
it's true. And that
Yeah,
Hong, I've never seen a candidate ever seen a candidate who's 20 plus points ahead.
yeah,
Not in one poll, not in two polls, but a myriad of polls and
yeah,
lose. I mean, these are polls just before the election itself, and it
yeah.
was a 22-point swing, or 25 or 29, depending which poll you're looking at. And the one in Wisconsin was close. I mean, that person was another 20-pointer, but just barely got to hang on.
Well,
So,
I know people from New York. They've been vacationing out here. They don't think AOC is going to win her campaign. They think she might be on the way out.
well, she's gonna be the way out or the next president.
Well, if she's on her way out, I don't think they're going to run her as president. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. Yeah, so I mean, she could be running for Hakeem. She could have run for his job, but if she would lost, then it puts a nick in your armor. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, they're also, I was amazed when they had the hearings with Fauci, and no one can I think can justify now that you've read his diaries, now that you've seen his text messages and so forth. Yeah. I mean, you can't go, well, he's just a well-intentioned
last little bit of the Kit Kat.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Why'd you say I got interrupted?
I was saying that what was I saying? Hakeem Jeffries. Oh, that Fauci. Before you could try to say, well, Fauci is well-intentioned. He just got it wrong. He was just, he did the best he could with the information he had. And now we know that's not true.
Yeah.
He had all the information and he decided to just go ahead with it.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew the Wuhan. He even said in one of his things, it's the Wuhan started it, and the wet market is just an amplifier. He knew it.
I just tell Democrats, he killed millions of Democrats too. It's not one-sided. He killed a lot of people.
Well, and did you get the flu shot? Did you get the COVID-19?
No. And a lot of people made fun of me. I said, I ain't putting that poison in my body. And one guy, he really went at me. I said, and now here we are 3 years later, and he's had a kidney removed because he had cancer. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell him it's from the COVID shot because I don't know, but it is what it is.
But every one of those Democratic senators would go, thank you, Dr. Fauci. And how can they do that? I mean, I guess, that's the nice thing about being a Democrat. You never have to say you're sorry. You never have to go back and say, oh, I was wrong, but now I've changed my mind or something. You never do.
Well, if they lose 2 or 3 more seats, we'll see. We'll see. I'm just, this is my theory that if they do gain 60 seats in the Senate, and they do flip 20 or 30 seats in the Congress, a lot of these between the election day and inauguration day, whatever it is, January 2nd, there's going to be a lot of liberal judges going along with Trump. You'll see all the appeals have come up, and they'll like Boasberg and everything, because they're all going to be afraid that they're going to be impeached. That's what their biggest. That's if the Democrats lose 4 or 5 seats in the Senate, and the Republicans also regain about 15, 20 seats in the Congress, then you're going to see these judges start fearing for their political lives, because then there's enough to start the impeachment process on the judges.
But I don't think there's any scenario that I've seen in which Republicans will gain 4 or 5 seats. They may keep it at 53. They're going to lose North Carolina. that one is just kind of out of sight.
And what about Minnesota?
Yeah, they may win Minnesota. That could be a
And then win Michigan.
upset. But Maine, they could lose there. It could go either way.
Yeah.
And they're Ohio, Brown, the Democrat Brown, who's running again. He's ahead. And so I think there's a, if the one big advantage Trump would have is if he could retain, let's say, 53 seats. If they could do that, lose some here, gain some beat out Syed and everything else, he's got rid of 4 of the worst Republicans possible. Getting rid of Cassidy, Louisiana. He's getting rid of Cornyn in Texas. He's getting rid of McConnell in Kentucky. And he's getting rid of Tillis in North Carolina. You get rid of those 4, and you may be able to not have Thune be the majority leader anymore.
Right.
He would have, instead of he'd still have Murkowski and stuff, but if he can retain.
Oh, that's another thing I forgot to tell you. But how many states are running their own SAVE Act thing? Like California's running a SAVE Act, Colorado's running the SAVE Act. So we'll see. I mean, that may drag out a lot of Republicans. That may drag out a lot of independents.
Yeah, I love your optimism.
No, I mean, listen. If it's true that they say 80% of the country wants ID at the polling place, then it's got to be 80% across the board. I maybe it will pass in Colorado.
Is it one of the 16 or 17 propositions we have?
Yeah. I don't know how much of them are raising taxes, but no, we have a SAVE Act. California has a SAVE Act. I think Michigan already has ID. They're just not enforcing it, But
well, to me, the most important thing is getting rid of mail ballot elections. You get rid of mail ballot elections, you get rid of ballot harvesting, and if you do that, then Republicans could win in Colorado again.
Well, hopefully the post office will come through, and they won't. If they know that somebody moved away from an address, they're not going to deliver the ballot there for those people. Yeah,
it's going to be. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting deal. I mean, I think it's maybe the most consequential midterm election in at least my lifetime.
Yeah.
And, if Trump can at least hang on the Senate, I think he'll have a successful final 2 years. If he loses the Senate and the House, not so much.
No.
Under constant attack. He won't be able to get any judges.
But there's too many people out there eyeballing the secretaries of state. They're not going to cheat this time. If there was cheating, they ain't going to cheat this time. Although I'm very disappointed in Mike Lindell, because Lindell lost, but he said that he would save some of the jobs for the illegals.
Not so. Make them legal. He had a whole plan. I listened to. I loved
and that just killed him.
Supported Tina Peters. Said, "Oh, I love Mike." And Julie said, "Yeah, well, read this." And he had all these things where all these people could apply for permanent residency. They could stay in the country. The illegals could stay in the country permanently. They just couldn't vote. Well, how long is that going to last, Mike? How long are you going to have a slave class that can't vote but can stay here forever?
Right. And then he says there was abnormalities in the voting. The abnormality was he opened his mouth. That's what it was.
Yeah. That was enough for me to go from really liking him to really hating him.
Yeah.
That's all it took. And I was shocked that, he thought that was a great idea. He thought that would really, push him over the top, because everybody's so thrilled that he'd come up with a solution. And they said, well, the base will hate that. Trump will hate it. I don't care. It works. What works? What is it that's working? A lot of people get to use people at the lowest rung and pay them almost nothing, and that quote unquote works. That's a good work. And you can never tell, about a politician. I mean, they seem great, and then all of a sudden you kind of go, whoa, Lindsey Graham used to seem great a long time ago. And then he became, John McCain's little butt boy. And you just go through
Well,
the.
they were both military. People forget McCain was in the Air Force.
He was.
Yeah.
I mean, at least McCain actually was in combat and all that.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham was a lawyer in the Army, so I guess that counts. But you just can. Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio ran in 2010. I thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. He gets in there and he does a Lindell. So, oh yeah, we got to have immigration reform and all that shit. And so I hated him. And then, then he's changed again now with Trump, and he's the best Secretary of State I've ever seen by far. Yeah. And he can debate. When they have him on television with Margaret Brennan or some of these other broadcasters. Yeah. He just wipes the floor with them. So I love him again, but I can't trust him again. After he went for that amnesty thing, immigration reform, I'm not sure who told him that was a great idea, but I can't, once your wife cheats on you once, it's very hard to go, oh, I trust her. Oh, sure you do.
The other thing was I was watching Fox this week, and they have a guy named Charles Payne. He's an investor or whatever.
Oh, yeah, big guy, big African-American guy.
So they were filming people. They would come up to whoever the interviewer is. And the guy would ask him, what do you think of the economy? And the guy said, oh, it's in the doldrums. I'm depressed and this. And then they would film these people as they came out of the store. It was in front of a department store with like 3 big shopping bags full of goods. Yeah, the economy's that bad, so I'm going to go in and spend money, right? So it shows that they're all. I don't know what the polling is. Let's wait until after Labor Day, and then we'll see what really happens.
Well, it's not too far away. It's a couple of weeks away.
Nope.
And so I'm half of me is optimistic in the sense of saying, I don't know. They have no people, no leaders, no anything else. Everything they support is like a 80-20 against.
Right.
And all that. And then I read all the polls, and maybe they're all fake, and maybe they're all crooked.
Yeah.
Some of them certainly are. And then I go, oh, wow, that's fun.
And as Richard Nixon once said, there's always the silent majority.
Yeah, well, he found out that's the silent majority was actually the deep state who threw him out of office after taking all but one state. And, okay, watch this. I mean, Watergate's one of those I'm still amazed about. So what happened? This group wanted to bug a phone. I mean, that is the greatest crime in the century. That is one which, you got to get rid of the president and everything else. I mean, not Lyndon Johnson killing 50,000 people, not Fauci and all those Democrats killing hundreds of thousands, a million.
Yeah.
And infecting everybody with this incredibly awful shots. I mean, those are real crimes against humanity. What Nixon did, and I just told you earlier, I'm not one of those people who thinks that Nixon was anything but a jerk. But the whole Watergate thing, and Woodward was clearly deep state, clearly naval intelligence, and it's today. I mean,
well, Nixon called Moynihan one day, and he said, "Now I know why they killed John F. Kennedy." And 2 weeks later, you had Watergate.
Yeah.
And that's I'm telling you, I think he was the first president as a victim of the deep state. That's what he was.
Well, and I've done this deep dive, and it's so I don't know why.
Yeah,
I've done a deep dive, but I've deep dive on George H.W. Bush's time in Texas when he joined he decided not to go back east, but instead go to Odessa and become an oil man. I mean, he was just, and his father, Prescott, had been the one who brought Geronimo's head back for the Skull and Bones Society and was very much into intelligence. Mm-hmm. He never was an oil man. He knew nothing about oil and gas. He was a disaster trying to sell, his little preppy self trying to go in the oil fields of Odessa, which was very working class. There's nothing he did that wasn't controlled by the CIA, and then he became the head of the CIA. But that story of his business career, never see it. I mean, I'm just looking at it, and one of his partners in Zapata Oil left the CIA to join Zapata Oil. And then after Bush got out, he went back to the CIA. And Zapata exploration, which was offshore, were used for the Bay of Pigs operation and the staging stations. I mean,
Wow.
he was total CIA. I mean, and I kind of go, you would think somebody would have done that story sometime, or at least said, well, is this possible? But no, it's all, oh, then he became interested in politics, and all of a sudden he was running for senator. What? He just one day? Oh, he became head of Harris County Republicans. To be a chair of a local county Republican chair, and I know tons of them. Those are volunteer jobs that nobody wants because there's a lot of work. And he took that into running for a Senate. I mean, it was just his whole career is a fraud.
Yeah.
It's just a fraud.
Yeah. And what was it? I had learned years ago that when the network, I think this was back in the 80s, when the network news would want to do a report on something international, like a war, like the war in the Falkland Islands or something, they had to put it through the CIA, and the CIA would give them permission to report it or not. And this I heard back in the Dan Rather days.
Yeah.
He did. He talked about it. He said that, we have to get everything okayed by the CIA before we can report it on the news.
Wow.
So,
all right, Jacob. Well,
all right.
leave with our producer your home address, and I will send you Julie's paycheck for the show.
No, it's okay.
Sourced over to you.
No, I don't work. I work. I'm probably not too far from you. I'm in Oneida and Leetsdale. I manage a restaurant every couple of days, so maybe I'll stop by.
That'll be great.
Okay. All right. Bye.
All right. Take care. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll be back Wednesday with Julie. So it'll be Chuck and Julie again. Thanks so much. Take care.